Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I am your usual host and presenter, Advocate Tudo Hoyane, your trusted presenter, telling it like it is. It was an interesting day in the Bloemfontein High Court yesterday, in the asbestos corruption case, if you can call it that. You'll recall that this is a case in which the former Premier of the Free State, MAGASHULE, and 16 others are facing a multiplicity of charges relating to fraud, I think, to the tune of about 255 million. Just to recap, houses throughout the Free State province were supposed to be fitted with corrugated iron roofs, and the asbestos roofing had to be replaced. And it is alleged that, in all that scheme of things, some corruption occurred. They were inflated, costs were inflated, and a myriad other things. But let me come back to what transpired yesterday. The trial is now in a stage called a trial within a trial. Let me just also explain what a trial within a trial is. A trial within a trial arises, like we have seen in the Senzo Meyiwa trial, when, one of the accused or an application is made for the admissibility of certain evidence. In the Senzo Meyiwa case, it was the disputed confessions. In the asbestos case in the Free State High Court, Morwadi Cholota, a former personal assistant of MAGASHULE when he was Premier of the Free State, is contesting the right of the Free State High Court to try her. Among other things, Cholota says that the court has no jurisdiction to be trying her. To take that matter further, she also says that her extradition from the United States was unlawful and must be declared as unlawful. You'll recall this draws parallels with the case of Nandi Pamagudumana, who is fighting battles throughout in the courts about her extradition from Tanzania to South Africa. But back to the Cholota case. Cholota is saying that the Bloemfontein High Court does not have that jurisdiction. On the other hand, the National Prosecuting Authority is saying the Bloemfontein High Court does not also have jurisdiction to hear that matter, because the decision to extradite Cholota was made by a court in the United States. And that if Cholota wished to contest that extradition from the United States back to South Africa, she should have done that in the United States. A spokesperson of the NPA also went on to say that, she could have taken or exhausted the entire judicial system in the United States to challenge that extradition, and that it is inappropriate for her to be challenging that extradition before the Bloemfontein High Court, which has no jurisdiction, the NPA contends, to make a pronouncement or to otherwise set aside the decision of a court, a decision made by a court in the United States. So that's a very interesting dimension to the whole thing. Cholota also goes on to allege that, you'll recall that at some stage it appeared that she would be a state witness. And along the way, she backtracked and declined to be a state witness. She says it is at that stage, after she had, declined any further communication with the Hawks along the lines of her being a state witness, that she started getting harassed. She also alleges that she was tortured and so on and so forth. So that is the asbestos case and where it is today in the Bloemfontein High Court. And we'll see how it unfolds. Well, the main trial will have to wait. The main trial will have to wait, I suppose, because, these mid-trial applications or proceedings tend to, shift focus away from the real case, which is the asbestos fraud case that everybody is so eagerly waiting to hear about. So that is the Cholota case. Let us move on to a development yesterday in the Senzo Meyiwa trial. Interestingly, the defense, through Advocate Munisi, says that they want some vehicle tracker information relating to all the vehicles that were involved, in the ferrying of the 5 accused persons from various places to other places during the investigation. I can foresee a lot of problems around that because that kind of evidence is highly technical. And to unravel it, the defense will need a forensic investigator to get to the bottom of what is contained there. A layman cannot simply, look at those records and say, this is what happened and this is what did not happen. So this might cause 1 or 2 delays. And it's very unfortunate because in the Senzo Meyiwa trial, there have been so many delays. But I'm not taking away the fact that, the defense is perfectly entitled to demand those vehicle tracker records if it is going to, enhance their defense of their clients. The judge also raised an interesting issue yesterday to Advocate Munisi to say, but was the former or the late Advocate Ngomezulu also on this track? Was he also going to cross-examine along the lines of these, vehicle tracker devices and all that? And Advocate Munisi replied that, well, I'm not privy to that. The judge went on to say, but you have consulted the client. I am not aware of what the situation is. I was a bit surprised by the judge's comments along those lines because any communication between a client and his lawyer or legal representative is privileged information. But be that as it may, the judge joked about it and said it's simply common sense. So we are likely to see a few more delays in that trial also, because now we are sort of, looking into that evidence, how long that evidence will take to procure, and, Munisi also will have to seriously look into that kind of technical evidence. And given that, it's been almost, 3 months now since, he promised to read that record. Well, he has completed reading the record. But, this might also cause some further delays. But at least I'm glad that some kind of tangible progress has been made. So that is all that I have for you today. The Cholota matter and the Senzo Meyiwa trial, what transpired yesterday in court. And having said that, let me thank you for watching these videos. Let me thank you for all the views that I'm seeing. And let me hear what you have to say in the comment section about some of the issues that have been discussed on these videos. You can only make these videos better. They say, 2 heads are better than 1. So your input is very important. A lot of you are coming up with very, insightful comments which, really add value to the daily fix. Having said that, let me say thank you to you all and have a wonderful day.